Hi, my name's Connie Casson. I'm the president and founder of Blue Seats Consulting. For the last 2 years, I've been working with Texas rural funders on some communications tools about broadband, and I'm pleased to present Finding Funding for Fiber. This is a new resource about different ways to finance capital intensive broadband projects. So this is the third of the papers that we've worked on. This was released last month at the members meeting, but this is in sequence with the broadband stories from rural Texas that came out first, and that profiled several different communities and different industries on the ways that we use broadband. So in public safety, in agriculture, in local government, in healthcare, as well as the education examples that many of us know well after COVID-19. The second paper is called Get Connected, Y'all. It is really a guide for communities as they pursue broadband projects to understand what are the technical aspects of securing broadband, what are the community engagement elements. It's a 9-step process for understanding what your goal is, bringing together resources and experts to create a plan and how to pursue that. So this document stands on the shoulders of those two to talk about, okay, once you're going to do broadband as a project, what are the ways that communities might finance projects at this time when there's so much public investment in broadband development, especially for rural communities. So it answers 3 big questions. Who's covered by existing broadband? Maps often overrepresent areas that are unserved or underserved. And so it gives some guidance on how to really measure address by address what the speeds are that are available and the sort of market options and customer service that's available. It addresses who should be covered by broadband. And if we think about what's fair, we've got to say everyone needs to be covered by broadband. I learned in my research an important delineation between electricity and telephone coverage and broadband, being that broadband is not defined as a utility. So there is not the obligation for providers to cover every address and every hamlet and every ranch that might exist. And so because of that, the market has served who the market can afford to serve. And as we're preparing for this significant investment through the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, we want to make sure that that communities that are not well served now are prepared to get what's theirs and to get what was designed for them to be included in the modern economy. It also helps put a price tag on what it will cost to bring broadband to everyone. So as with any of these complex projects, the answer is it depends, but it helps give some guidance on how to estimate how much coverage already exists, as well as what it will take to expand broadband coverage at certain speeds to every address. This example that is visualized is built on work from Jennifer Prather, who's the CEO of Totelcom, which is an internet service provider based in De Leon, Texas. You can see in a few different visualizations here what it looks like. What are some of the reasons that these last addresses haven't been covered? And in the orange line, you can see density per mile. You can see the different cost factors in the sort of slate blue or peacock blue color. In some of the East Texas areas haven't been covered with broadband because there's tree trimming to do, which is something interesting and very different from the incredibly capital intensive grinding and gritty work of more rocky soils that we might have out west. So some differences there, the cost per subscriber, and then the years to break even. So there's the differences between what it takes to get broadband and then what it takes to cash flow service to all these communities. So this is an important visualization that we put together in this document. And this this visualization represents the polls of private equity funded development for broadband all the way to municipal ownership, with a million options in between, and the pros and cons of different ways to finance broadband. So for community leaders, for foundation leaders, there's lots of terms that are demystified by the glossary in this document, and some examples of what the capital stack might look like among first dollar in grants, some public funding that has been available, existing infrastructure. There could be private investments from companies or from operating companies, ISPs, co-ops, as well as like municipal public investment and funding through some of those financial vehicles. These are just 4 examples out of hundreds that are available across the state, but that we thought they were indicative of different ways to finance broadband. And also included in the document are a variety of resources. So for those who are really deep in broadband, this will be basic, but for those of us who are getting up to speed and building our broadband fluency, there's some tools that I hope could be helpful. The first is an inventory of financial tools. So among the various levels that would be available to Texas communities, it defines some of the intention and incentives at the federal or national level, and as well as things that are happening in Texas or what might be happening at the local community. The players in the industry is also another like spot in time definition of here's the alphabet soup of federal or state agencies and what their various roles are, as well as some of the nonprofits that play in the space and some of the companies that you've never heard of, for many of us, but have incredibly pivotal roles to play and access to capital that can help finance some of these projects. And finally, we want to make sure the vocabulary is accessible. So there's a pretty extensive glossary of broadband terms. So we have this tool available in several places on the website. It has been distributed to Texas Rural Funders members, and we're always looking for new ideas of how to bring explanation, visualization, and these resources to people to demystify the ways that communities can pursue broadband. We're really excited to help foundations and communities and leaders, and hope this can be another asset at this pivotal time in with new tools to finance broadband development.